Now, welcome to your favorite health program right here on Ebru TV, My Doctor Show, every Monday to Wednesday. Now, what's your favorite healthy food? Is there food you consider healthy but you're not sure of? Remember, a healthy diet will protect you from all forms of malnutrition and also from non-communicable diseases such as cancer, heart disease, and stroke. The World Health Organization has confirmed that unhealthy diet is the largest contributor to non-communicable diseases. Today on the show, we will be discussing or helping you with simple steps on how to plan and enjoy a healthy diet. Remember, we will also be demystifying for you the use of a microwave and whether there is any relationship between microwave and some of these non-communicable diseases, especially cancer. You're welcome to be part of the show by either asking us a few questions or even dropping us a comment on what your favorite food is like. Use the number that will be displayed right at the bottom of your screen to call us live, or use the hashtag MyDoctor. On Twitter, we are at Ebru TV Kenya or at Purity_Museo. For now, I'll ask you to sit back, relax, and learn from this exciting show ahead, coming your way just in a moment. My name is Purity Museo, and once again, this is My Doctor Show.
We display nutritional information on food packaging more prominently.
Welcome back to the show. Use the number 0791478990 to just tell us what's your favorite food and also ask us a few questions regarding our topic of discussion today, which is healthy diet or healthy eating. And to help us with the discussion in studio, joining me is two special guests. One is Jen Mugun, who is a marketing manager at Samsung East Africa. That's right, Jen?
Yes, it
Welcome
is.
to My Doctor Show.
Thank
and we do have Dr. Geoffrey Mutuma, who is a pathologist. That's right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Doc.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, today we're talking about healthy eating.
Right.
Maybe, Doc, you could first, we do have some sort of food here. You'll be telling us whether they are healthy or not.
Right.
But before then, what's
Yeah.
healthy eating?
Healthy eating is mainly when you consume what is actually useful to your body. And when we talk about consuming food which is useful to your body, is consuming food which has got nutrients. One of the things we are seeing is that nowadays cancer is common, diabetes is common, and it's because of the food, because the food we are eating is not healthy food, because we have moved from the traditional African food to refined food.
Right.
So most of us nowadays, we are eating a lot of refined food, and that refined food, yes, is sweet, is delicious, but has no nutrients. And that's why we talk about the best food you can eat is actually whole grain. Whole grain is when you eat the whole maize, the whole of it. And then if it's wheat, you eat the whole of it. And the rice, the same. Those are the whole grains, and the grains are the ones actually which use nowadays. And that's why you find that most of us, what we are eating is actually refined rice. When you eat pishori, when you eat something which is white, it's not good, because what you need to eat is to eat what's brown. The correct thing to eat is brown rice or brown ugali, or something which has got a whole grain, because what happens that we remove the good part of the grain, and we are left with a part which is not good, which contains a lot of sugar. Apart from the sugar actually causing a lot of diabetes to us, actually it also causes cancer, because as you know that cancer likes sugar. No, so now, and then we find we got the grains. Most of the time we don't eat grains, and that's why you find that when in traditional eating in African setting today, you find that the grains are so little, and then if it's green, it is comprising of almost 10%, when it's supposed to be comprising of 50%. Whole grain and grains are the most important. And then you find that most of our plate, if you look at our plate today, it contains a lot of carbohydrates. That is rice or ugali or spaghetti, and all those is not the whole grain. And then we are eating a lot of fat. Two things which are normally very important is that most of these diseases, non-communicable diseases, they are diseases which we make within our body, and we make them by what we eat. And that's to find that when you eat a lot of meat, especially the red meat, and then you eat a lot of refined food, and then you don't eat the food which actually purifies your body and gives your body energy. That's where we have issues.
And
yeah.
you'll be telling us the composition of a healthy diet. But
Yes,
before
yes.
then, Jen, do you agree that the more we discuss about healthy eating, the more people get confused on what really should be considered as healthy diet? Do you agree with that? And what do you think should be done to make it simpler to our viewers on what to eat?
Absolutely. I agree with the doctor here. And I think just going by our lifestyle as people who are busy at work, and more often than not you'll find people eating junk and forgetting that we need to go back to healthy eating. And that's where we as Samsung, as producers of electronic equipment, would like to demystify what are actually the health benefits and how and what to do and what not to do with a microwave.
With a microwave, and we'll be getting into that discussion shortly. But before then, Doc, just before you help us understand what's a composition of a healthy diet, we do have just a few. This is spicy, sweet and spicy chicken. And we do have rice and some snacks here. You'll tell us whether they are healthy or not. Give us a tick and a wrong.
This is a wrong, a very big wrong.
This is sausages and samosa.
Sausages are very big wrong. That's not good food.
Not
sausages,
even once in a while?
Once in a while in Christmas Day. It's okay.
Right.
This one, it is, this is okay because the meat, yes, is white meat.
Okay.
What is not good is actually the red meat. That's
so this
beef.
one I can take?
This is okay, but not every day. Not every day. The greens are very good, and especially when you have got the greens and the color. The color is normally very, very, very important. When you've got the green, called carrots, and then the bricol is very good because this actually, the bricol is very good because this actually prevents cancer from growing. But this, anytime you eat animal protein, is not normally very good. So you have to keep away from animal protein and you go to plant protein because it's better. For the rice, this is the wrong one, and this one, I think, if you have to eat it, just eat it, but not that the doctor said that's not good, especially the white rice. I normally recommend people to eat the brown rice. I know it's not very good. Remember, anything which is good and is sweet, also cancer likes it, because cancer is a part of our body. So
white rice, it's a big no?
It's a big no. We normally recommend brown rice. And that's why for people who have got diabetes, we tell them eat brown rice, eat brown ugali, because the white is not good. Remember, when it's white rice, whatever is good has to be removed. In fact, what we do, what is good is removed, is given to cows.
Right.
They produce a lot of milk. And then what we are given pure sugar. And that's where we have got a problem.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Now, because you just said no to almost everything that I have on the table, just then tell us, make us understand, when we talk about a healthy diet, what's the composition of a healthy diet?
The composition of the healthy diet, the first thing which you need to do is, we've got a pyramid. The base of that pyramid is actually exercise. Very important, you need to do exercise, especially 30 minutes in a day. And then the next one is whole grain. Whole grain is a whole grain, not the pishori, not the rice which the outer part has removed. Because what we do, we remove the outer part of rice, which is most nutritious. The same thing with maize. We remove the outer part of maize, and then we throw it away to the same as wheat. And then what we are given is actually the part of grain which is not useful. So the first thing, you eat a lot of grains. Almost 50% of your plate must be grains. And then after that, you go to the fruits. We eat a lot of fruits. And the fruits, I normally recommend the colored fruits, because the more the color, the deeper the color, the better the fruit. And that's why we say the fruits, the best one is pawpaw, avocado, mango, and watermelon. They are the best. Of course, other fruits are good, but the more the color, the deeper the color, the better the fruits, because the deeper the color, it has got something called phytonutrients, and those phytonutrients and the flavonoids are the one actually which detoxify our body. Like the pawpaw is very good for detoxifying our bodies. So you need to use actually a lot of fruits, and that's why. And when you eat fruits, and this is normally very very important, most of us Kenyans, we eat fruits unachanganya kila. You mix everything. You eat one fruit at a go. Okay. And what is very important is that you eat the fruits before food. We are used to eating the fruits after food. You eat the fruits before food because fruits are normally absorbed well in the body when the stomach is empty. And then after that, now you can now eat the fat and the meat, and that must be very little. And that's why 50% of your plate must be all grain. The whole grain, 30% should be fruits and vegetables, and then the remaining 20% is the meat, and then the fat and the sugar.
Okay.
And then, unfortunately, we do it opposite. We eat a lot of sugar, a lot of fat, and a lot of meat.
Yeah.
And then we don't eat whole grain at all.
Yeah, and
Yes.
you'll be telling us how
Yeah.
much, especially for proteins, which food do we refer as proteins and carbohydrates. But
Yes.
before that, Jen, once again, I welcome you to my Dr. Show. And a microwave is a very important aspect in our homes because we use it to warm and heat our food. But just before we get to the use of a microwave, if you could also help us understand the importance of a microwave in a little more detail.
Yeah. Just to add to Dr. point, a microwave is a very important gadget in any kitchen. And microwaves with the modern technology can do various things. There are microwaves that now can cook, but traditionally growing up, I think we've always grown up thinking that a microwave is only for warming food. So with advanced technology, microwaves can now cook, and for people who are on the go, you can be able to get a specific microwave that cooks. And microwaves are also used for warming food, and I think it's ideal for every home to have a microwave in this day and age.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you'll be helping us understand how to use a microwave. But before then, Jen, there are so many misconceptions about microwave. First, which ones would you term wrong misconceptions?
I think the first misconception which we need to demystify is that microwave causes diseases, and more so cancer. One thing I must say, microwaves are healthy. They do not cause cancer. It's a misconception. What happens with cancer? Cancer is more of radioactive material, but with microwaves, when using the heating process, they do not use any radioactive material. What they use is radiation, which is absorbed by the water molecules of the food, causing the food to vibrate and heat the food. So there are no gamma rays, there are no X-rays, and a microwave does not change the molecular structure of the food. So I must say a microwave is very healthy, and it's a misconception that we have that it actually causes diseases. But one thing I must say, you must also use it in the right way based on what the manufacturer has set out in the directions on how to use it. So I want to state that microwaves are actually safe, and they do not cause cancer.
Yes, and you'll be showing us how to use a microwave. But before then, Jen, what can go wrong in terms of when using a microwave? Do we have, at some point when you don't use it in a recommended way, the way you're going to show us, do we have issues, or do we have something that can go wrong in regards to using the microwave?
Absolutely. If you don't use, just like any equipment, if you don't use a microwave well, then you're likely to get various accidents. One example is, what should you use in heating your food? If you use the wrong container, then of course it's going to cause contamination with your food. Something else that you must not use, if you use foil paper like
Let's just stay with the container.
Yes.
Okay, you can't just use any container for.
True.
Do you have samples for?
Yes.
Like, for example, this one?
That is a no-no.
This one is a no?
That is a no-no.
Why?
Yes, because most, all microwave containers that are safe to use are normally indicated. So when you're buying a container for use as for the microwave, it will be indicated, and it will be said to be microwave friendly.
And this
so
one?
normally at the bottom of the container, you'll be able to see that, like you can see in this one. So if you're using a microwave container, you must ensure that it is actually safe and friendly for a microwave. Another thing that you can use for microwave is you can use glass. Glass is very safe to use in a microwave. It will not cause any damages or accidents. Or ceramic containers. Those are also safe for use in a microwave.
But the plastics that are not indicated,
Plastics,
they are a no?
yes, yes.
Okay, so what are some of the health hazards for using the wrong containers for when you're heating or warming your food?
Yeah. What would happen if you use a container that's not microwave friendly and you put it in the microwave? During the heating process, it can melt and contaminate the food and actually cause damages to your body.
Okay.
That's why we keep recommending that it's actually wise to use microwave friendly plastic containers or ceramic containers or glass containers to be able to heat your
And
food.
you've said any container should be indicated
Yes.
that it's microwave like this one.
Yes.
Where is it? Yeah, open lid prior to use in
Yes.
microwave oven. It's
Exactly.
indicated.
Exactly.
All right, so just now help us understand how to use a microwave. When you've bought your microwave, we have a microwave here. How do you use your microwave? In terms, you can also be helping us understand how do you also regulate the heat? What are some of the factors that you have to consider?
Yes. Once you buy a microwave, I think the first thing is to ensure that you install it correctly. Normally, it's wise to have a technician, but it's normally straightforward. You can just plug it onto the socket. So that's for starters. And then for microwave, you must ensure that you use it correctly, because if you don't use it correctly, it will be dangerous to the whole family and to you in general. So I think the first thing I must say is to be ensure that the installation is done correctly. That's just the first basic. Yes.
Okay. And after the installation is okay, after how long? Because for other electronics, like a fridge, you're told to install it maybe overnight, you're not going to use it. Is it the same case for a microwave?
A microwave is actually straightforward. It's plug and play. As long as you have put the right connection and the right power outage, then it's plug and play. Yes.
And because we can't warm our food, because this you said it's a wrong container, we
Yes.
wanted to try out. Can you warm your food? You've talked about containers. How about papers like this one? You know,
That
some
is-
people will just buy and put it in the microwave and
Yes,
warm it.
yes.
Is it recommended?
It is not recommended because there are particles that will get into the food
Yeah.
if you use containers that are not actually recommended for microwave. So as a standard, we clearly state that you must use microwave-friendly containers to avoid that contamination with the food.
Yeah, and
Yes.
because this is a clean container, maybe you'll help us warm these samosas. Though the doctor said they are not healthy, but you can help us. I don't know whether you have a few. So that we can be able to know how much heat should you
Yes.
put on your food.
All right, once you put your food in a microwave-friendly container, most of our Samsung microwaves come with a preset menu. Like, for example, if you want to heat chicken, if you want to heat fish, if you want to heat frozen foods, there's normally a preset menu. And most of them have a preset time, which is ideal for different kinds of foods. So like for a samosa, it's already pre-cooked. We'll just open our microwave. And more often than not, for this one, you don't need to heat too much because it's already cooked. All you want to do is just warm it. So for this, you will just click on 30 seconds and you press the start button and you warm your samosa.
Okay.
Yes.
30 seconds is enough for a samosa?
30 seconds is enough for a samosa. Yes.
So what should you consider while, setting up the time?
You consider the food itself because different foods need different heating times. Like if you have a frozen cake, or if you have frozen fish, or you have frozen chicken or milk. So what we have done for Samsung technology is that we have come up with preset menus where you can be able to click and just hit it, and automatically your food just gets warmed as you would love it.
Yeah.
So you can see our samosa is actually warmed up. And normally we have different preferences. There's some people who want their food hotter than others. So if you feel like 30 seconds is not good enough for you, you can always go back to the microwave and warm it again. Yes. So it's some of the things are made of preferences, but most of the others are preset to be able to help food heat evenly. Yes.
But there's no any negative effect for the heat from the microwave on anyone's, or when you heat your food in the microwave, do we have any impact from the heat that is coming from the microwave, because there's so much fear when it comes to using the microwave to heat your food?
Yeah, okay, what happens, like if you have frozen meat from the fridge, what's the best way to thaw frozen meat from the fridge? The best way would be, ideally, to just put it in the refrigerator and it thaws, or use water. Now, the disadvantage with those two, one, you'll consume a lot of water. The other one, you'll consume a lot of power. So the best way to thaw the meat is through the microwave. But what happens sometimes when you're defrosting through the microwave, it gets cooked a bit. It can get cooked a bit. And what we recommend is that you cook that food immediately. So once you defrost your food in a microwave-friendly container, cook it immediately, because if you don't cook it immediately, then you have bacteria coming into your food and contaminating your food. So that's what must be done. Yes, you must at least cook your food immediately to avoid bacteria getting onto your food.
Yeah. And maybe you could also tell us what happens when, for example, you've put your food in a refrigerator for like 2 days or like a day, and then you're coming to warm it with your microwave. Is it healthy? Because there's also so much fear when it comes to using your, maybe keeping your food in a fridge and then coming to warm it. Is it a hazard-free?
As long as the food is healthy, because normally what happens, there's recommended time that you can put food in the fridge. If you want to keep food for longer, then you must put it in the freezer. But if you're putting food overnight and you want to warm it the next day, it is still very safe for consumption.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, Doc, you are an expert, a health food expert. Do you also support what Jen is saying? Is there any from your side? Do we do we assure our audience that, you know, what use of a microwave is really safe?
There are so many controversies about the
Microwave,
and
right.
most of them are not yet proved. And you know, when you talk about waves, you know, there's always something which has been talked a lot about the microwaves, and more so, you know, people like to put the microwave in the same category with X-rays, gamma rays, and ultraviolet, which actually they are radiation, and they can actually cause cancer. So, but the microwave is in a different category, and it has no any known factor which can cause cancer. And something very important. Remember, there's no cause of cancer, just risk. It does not increase the risk of getting cancer.
But is there any risk?
In terms of using the microwave, no.
There isn't?
Not that has been proved. Remember, most of things in health, most of cancer, we need to do a lot of research and follow a lot of studies to know that there's risk in anything which we use in our daily activities. Yes.
And on the show today, we are talking about healthy eating. What's your favorite food? You can drop your comment and also ask us a few questions. In studio, we do have food experts to just help us understand what especially the composition of a healthy diet, and also demystifying for us. Jen is also demystifying for us the use of a microwave, what are the do and the don'ts for the use of a microwave. Call us live. The number is 0791-478-990. Or use the hashtag #MyDoctor on Twitter, at Ebru TV Kenya, at Purity_Museo. And Jen, someone is asking whether the use of a microwave will help or make the food lose their nutrients.
That's another misconception that we need to demystify. The use of a microwave does not change the nutrients of food, because what happens with the microwave is that you heat the food, the molecular structure of the food. It doesn't use any liquids like boiling or baking, so it doesn't reduce any nutritional or any moisture of the food. So the food remains as it were before you put it in the fridge, in the microwave.
Yeah, and also you will help us understand how do we clean a microwave, and first, is it cleaned?
Yes, it's very important to regularly clean your microwave, because if you don't, you encourage rust and you encourage dirt, which can also cause bacteria into your food. So you must clean your microwave regularly, especially if you have spills, so that you avoid scratches and rust. And what I must say, with modern technology, and especially Samsung microwaves, we have what we call ceramic inside in our microwaves. So what ceramic interior inside helps, it helps keep your microwave free from spills and rust. And it's proven that it's 7 times actually rust-free compared to a normal microwave. Yes, so you must clean it as often as possible to avoid rust.
Yes.
Another thing you must do when you're buying a microwave to consider is to avoid microwaves with corners, with sharp corners. Buy a rounded microwave, because with a rounded microwave, you prevent dirt.
Maybe you could just open and show the interior.
Yes. So
When
if you
you
look
say
at our
rounded,
microwave, it's actually rounded at the corners. You don't have sharp corners, so it prevents bacteria or rust from getting onto the microwave. So that's one factor that you need to consider when you're buying a microwave, because it helps you keep it clean. And you can see from inside what I'm talking about, the ceramic inside. It makes it easier to clean compared to a normal steel microwave. Yes.
And Jen, can you cook using a microwave, you know?
Yes, you can. With modern technology, you can. At Samsung, we introduced what we call Samsung Hot Blast Microwave, which actually has the capability of cooking. And in that hot blast, it has advanced features, like you have what we call slim fry technology. And what slim fry does...
And Jenny, I'll cut you short. There's someone who's calling us live. Can we receive the call?
Okay.
All right. Hello. Okay, we've lost the caller. Maybe we can continue.
Yes, so as I was saying, yes, you can cook with a microwave, and with the Samsung Hot Blast microwave, there are various technologies within that microwave. We have what we call slim fry technology, and what slim fry technology does in this age of living healthy, it encourages you to cook your food with very little oil, and ensuring that your food is still crispy on the outside and juicy in the inside.
Yeah.
Yes, but you must ensure that when you're buying your microwave, it has that cooking capability. It also has a
cooking
grill.
involves also baking. You can bake
You
with
can
the microwave.
bake. You can bake with the Samsung Hot Blast microwave. You can bake. You can make pizza. And guess what? You can also do yogurt without the use of any other
But the doctor
technology.
will say pizza is no. It's not
Yes,
healthy.
I will say it is no, but there are those Sundays when you're feeling lazy and you've come from church, you can be able to actually bake a pizza.
Yeah.
Yes.
But doc, you said once in a while is okay.
Once a while, yeah, it's okay.
And
Once in a
what
while,
do you
yeah.
mean by once in a while? Because I'll take today and I'll say it's after a week, it's once in a while. But just before you answer that, let's get to hear what our caller has to say. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hi, I'm Dennis.
Yeah, okay, Dennis.
I'm calling from Kasarani.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm an ulcers patient,
Okay.
and I can see today you've got a doctor who's talking about food and the diet.
That's right.
Okay, I wanted to inquire about how I should be taking my meals as an ulcers patient.
Mm-hmm. Did you
Yeah.
he said it's
Yes, ulcer.
okay, ulcer
yeah.
patient. Okay, a diet for ulcers
Yeah.
patients. So thank you
Yes.
so much for your question.
Yeah.
We do appreciate.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right. Before we forget, you can answer him.
Right, I think ulcers are quite common, and ulcers in the stomach is when you have got pain up in the stomach, mainly in the abdomen, and ulcers are quite common, and ulcers are precursors of some cancers, mainly of the stomach. So ulcers nowadays we take them very seriously, and this is not the time when you used to tell people that with ulcers take Actor or take milk, and they also will go. What is happening nowadays? We're having a bacteria which is called H. pylori, which actually causes your ulcer to convert into cancer, very common. That's why, as we talk today, cancer of the stomach is number 3 in Kenya. It was low, but it has come up because of the presence of H. pylori in the stomach.
So there is a relationship between ulcers and stomach cancer?
Yes.
I think we'll talk more when we come back.
They are directly related. So for somebody who has got ulcers, the most important thing actually avoid any food which has got any taste, like pili-pili, like onions, like spices. Avoid all the spices, because what spices does, they increase the acidity in the stomach. Remember, the pH of the stomach is very important, because when the pH goes low, it becomes acidic. There's erosion, and that erosion is actually what causes the stomach to have some ulcers. And most cases, we normally advise people to avoid things like fruits, mainly citrus fruits, because actually they increase the
and Doc,
the
allow us
acid.
to take a very quick breather, but
Yeah.
when we come back, we'll talk more on ulcers and food.
Yeah.
Okay, my doctor show continues shortly. We take a very quick breather, but remember, you feel free to be part of this conversation. Tell us what your favorite food is like, and also ask any question regarding healthy diet, and also demystify. We are also demystifying the use of a microwave right here with Jen. Do talk to us. Use the hashtag MyDoctor on Twitter at Ebru TV Kenya at Purity_Musel. My Doctor Show continues in just a moment. Welcome back to the second and the last part of the show. Today we're talking matters healthy diet, and also demystifying for you the use of a microwave. What are the do's and the don'ts, and also what are the right containers to use while warming or heating your food using a microwave. You are welcome to be part of the show. Feel free to call us and even share with us your thoughts on what your favorite food is like, and also a few questions. Is there food that you consider healthy but you're not sure about it? Then we do have two special guests who are experts experts to just help us understand what healthy diet is and also the use of a microwave. Use the number 0791478990, or on Twitter, we are at Ebru TV Kenya or at Purity_Museo. Use the hashtag #MyDoctor. You can also talk to us via our Facebook page, which also is Ebru TV Kenya and Purity Museo. But just before we continue with our discussion, let's get the home remedies. And welcome back. You're watching My Doctor Show. My name is Purity Museo. This is the last part of the show. The only time you have to call us live and ask us a few questions. Our topic of discussion today is healthy eating and also demystifying the use of a microwave. In studio, we do have Dr. George, and also we do have Jen Mugun from the Samsung East Africa, the managing director. Is it the managing director? Marketing manager, yeah. Sorry, for the Samsung East Africa. They are with us here in studio. Use the number that is just below your screen to call us live and ask us a few questions. Welcome back, both of you, to the second part of the show.
Thank you.
Yes, and Doctor, one of our viewers is requesting to just, in simple terms, help us understand when we talk about a balanced diet. I know there's proteins, we do have carbohydrates, we do have vitamins, but how much, and when we talk about proteins for the local found food that we have in the country, maybe you could also help us understand for someone who is, because we come from different backgrounds and we are able differently. So what are alternatives for proteins other than the common ones that we know, like meat and beans?
Right, I think mainly for the proteins, and that's proteins are very important because especially for the children when they are growing up, because proteins are bodybuilding's food, and that's why it's very important for someone to make sure that at least he takes the appropriate amount of proteins. Most of us currently we are focused our source of protein to be meat, mainly more so of red meat. It's good, it's quite good, a good source of protein because apart from the meat having the proteins which are very high, it also has other minerals like iron, which is very important for blood forming. So it's important to use protein mainly. Meat is a major source of protein, and then we have eggs, which are also a source of protein, and then we have beans and cowpeas and pigeon peas. These are, and then the green grams. Those are the best protein. If you have to eat healthily, we say that reduce the meat and increase the plant proteins, and then you increase the beans, the cowpeas, the pigeon peas, and green grams. Those are the best as a source of protein. Yeah.
And Doc, how many times in a week or in a day should I ensure that my meal has proteins?
No, every day.
Every day?
Balanced food is supposed to get
every day.
Balanced food. You get the starch, you get the protein, and then you get the trace mineral on the same food. You can't say that I'll eat protein alone and then I'll eat starch alone and then I'll eat the fruits alone. No, you all the time you eat, you must make sure that actually your food is balanced. That's why we call it balanced diet all the time. Yes. Yeah.
And Jen, we have a viewer who is asking in regard to the use of a microwave. When you're warming your food with the container, which you said it must have a label that it's a microwave friendly, should it be closed or open?
It's always good to have your food closed when you're warming your food, because actually it retains the moisture and it ensures that the food is actually evenly warmed. So it's always recommended that you actually have your food warmed in a closed container. Yes.
Okay. Doc, getting back to you, when should a healthy dietary behavior begin? Does it begin with the infant, when, for example, you're breastfeeding, or what would you say?
Right. I think the balanced diet should start from the beginning, from day one, and that's why you find what we are seeing. What we are seeing nowadays, we are seeing a lot of cancers, and we have got two distribution of cancers. We got the cancers of the aged and the cancer of the young one, 40 and below. Remember, mainly we are saying that the major cause of cancer nowadays, or risk factors of cancer, is diet.
And Doc, you'd allow me cut you short.
Yeah.
We'll receive one more call. Titus from Nairobi. Hello,
Yeah.
Titus.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
You had a concern?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When I use hello?
Yes, I
Yes.
can get you clearly.
Yeah, when I use a microwave,
Mm.
yeah, I feel kwa mchungu.
Mm-hmm.
Nashindwa where is the problem.
When you use the microwave, unashindwa kukula? Unashindwa na nini?
Napata chat hiyo microwave,
Mm.
nashika na kizunguzungu. Kipepe.
Okay.
So
Jen.
nashindwa the problem is when.
Okay. Thank you so much. He's saying when he's using the microwave, I don't know whether after eating the food or when he's in the process of using the food, the microwave, he gets to feel dizzy. What's the problem?
Well, as I said, in terms of microwave, if you use it correctly and you use the right containers, you should not have a problem. So I think it could be having a secondary issue or a secondary condition that would actually need to be checked.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe once
from an
again, Jen,
expert.
you could take us through the do's and the don'ts when using a microwave.
As I said, one, you must use the right containers, and all containers are normally indicated. And I mentioned earlier that you should use ceramic, or you use glass, or you use plastics that are actually recommended. Some of the things that you must not do is use foil. If you use foil, it can actually cause fire in your home. So that is something that should never be used in a microwave. Also, if you're using cling film, there's that film that is actually recommended for use in a microwave, but there are those that are not. The cling that is normally, when you buy your food from the supermarket, it's very dangerous, because if you put it in the microwave, it starts melting, and it will be dangerous to you as a consumer. So those are just basic facts. And also cleaning your microwave, because if you don't clean your microwave, you encourage rust, and you encourage small particles of food to be left in your microwave, which can cause bacteria in your food.
Yeah.
So those are just simple do's and don'ts that you must do when you're using a microwave.
And someone else is asking, when you use the wrong container, because sometimes, Jen, when you walk into a supermarket and you're buying a ready food, you packed food in these containers that are not microwave friendly, and sometimes they go ahead and warm the food for you. First, what should we do to stop that? And also, do we have, because someone is asking, when you use the wrong container, can it cause cancer? Because they're very scared about cancer in microwave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, you don't get cancer from using a microwave, because what I said is that when you use a microwave, what hits the food is actually radiation and in the water molecules of the food. So the issue of cancer in microwaves, as even Dr. has seconded, is not possible.
The issue of the wrong containers.
The wrong container, and
cancer.
you might not see it initially, but when you continue using the wrong container, you're actually eating contaminated food. It might not affect you at that moment, but continued use of the wrong container, you're actually harming your body, because you're getting some small particles from those containers, or even from that plastic itself. It gets into your food. So going forward, and I think that's why we're here to demystify in terms of what you can use when you're using a microwave. Avoid using those containers of yogurt, of margarine, of ice cream. Use the recommended containers so that you can stay safe and healthy.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And we will be emphasizing more on that even before we end the show, because that's where the problem is. And the problem, as you say, Jen, it's not the use of a microwave. Doc, getting back to you now, take us through, you say that a balanced diet should be every day. It should be a daily routine.
Yes.
But when you look at the meals, we do have breakfast, we do have lunch, and we do have also dinner. First, I'll ask you, how many times should we eat in a day? And also for a many people want to know.
Right,
and
right,
also
right,
when we
right.
talk
Yes.
about breakfast,
Yes, yes.
first, what time should we be taking our breakfast?
Right,
And
right,
what should
right.
be our
Right.
breakfast?
Right.
Yeah.
I think normally what we do advise about food is that you eat a breakfast a lot of it. Lunch, you eat normally, and the dinner, you eat very little, if any. That's completely opposite of what of our people do, because normally you eat in the breakfast. Remember, in the breakfast, actually, you are supposed to break the fasting. That's why it's called breakfast. And then that's why you're supposed to eat a lot of food during the breakfast, because during the day you need that energy. And that energy is from the food which you ate in the morning. So in the morning you're supposed to eat a lot. And then that's opposite of what most of us do. We do eat a lot at night. Remember, when you eat at night, all that food you eat not used is stored as fat. And that's why people keep on increasing weight, irrespective of the diet and what they are doing to control their weight. Remember, nowadays obesity is a real problem in this country, and it's rising very high. And that's why we've got this non-communicable disease, because obesity is a risk of the non-communicable disease, mainly cancer and diabetes. So now, when you have to guide yourself on how you need to eat. I know some people, they don't have time, of course, naturally.
For breakfast.
For breakfast, unapitia. Asubuhi, you are too late, you cannot do anything, you have overslept, and then you're unapitia. That's not good. In fact, missing breakfast is worse. It's better you miss supper than missing the breakfast, because, and you see, because of the way we work during the day, you are running all over, and then you don't eat lunch, and then you have not eaten breakfast, and then at night you eat too much. That's actually where the issues is.
And what time should we take our breakfast? Because some people will say, I can't really take anything too early.
No, it's important to start training slowly by slow. I normally advise between 6 and 8. That's okay.
My God.
6 and 8. That's okay. Between 6 and 8, and because remember, at 10 you are supposed to get to take a snack before lunch, and then after that you are supposed to take something at 4, like that. And that's why with the main meals, that is the breakfast, you eat a lot of it, and then lunch you can eat moderate, and then supper you eat very little. And if you have to eat supper, you eat fruits or vegetables. It's better.
Sure.
There's no need of eating 4 chapatis at night or a whole plate of ugali at night, because all that food will be stored as fat, and then it will be very difficult for you to reduce weight. And remember, fat in the body is not very good.
So what should we eat during our breakfast?
In fact, the easiest thing I normally advise people is that you just take what you ate supper and put it in breakfast. That's easiest. You take whatever you eat your supper today, last night. Whatever you ate, put it in a breakfast. And because I know most of us Kenyans, that's the way we do. In the morning you eat in the morning breakfast, you eat normal food. You eat ugali, you eat chapati, you eat that cost that is
for people in urban areas will just eat tea and bread.
In urban area, that's why we are saying that this disease which we have nowadays is because of urbanization. Remember, the disease, diabetes, cancer, they are common because of urbanization. And unfortunately nowadays, actually, you find that this lifestyle of urban area is even going down to the rural area, because remember, in rural area in the morning you eat because you're going to work. In the rural area, you cannot wake up in the morning and take a cup of tea. It will be tough because the work is manual. And that's why we normally advise people eat a lot in the morning, and so that you get the energy for the whole day. And if you do like that, you'll be able to keep your weight quite comfortably.
And Doc, you've said that every meal should be balanced.
Yes.
There are people who will just wake up and take ugali and tea, for example, or ugali and vegetables, and the meal is not balanced, of course. So what happens? You need to take protein, you need to take starch. Ugali is mainly purely starch, and you need to take protein, mainly the beans or meat, especially the white meat, that is fish and chicken. They are normally very good, because the red meat is not very good. And then you need to take the vegetables also in the same meal, and then you need to take the fruits. All the time, whenever you are eating, your food must be a balanced diet. Yes. All right, and we do have Mark online. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, this is Mark.
Yes, Mark.
I'm calling from Renewal. And I have a question to the doctor.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been experiencing some pain on my stomach.
Okay.
Yeah, upper left. Yeah, hello?
Yes, I can get you clearly. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mark.
on my upper left.
Yeah.
So I'm asking the doctor, could it be maybe an ulcer?
Okay.
Stomach ulcer?
Thank you so much. I think, Doc, we need to learn more about stomach ulcers.
Stomach ulcers, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
answer him, then you get help us understand whether there are some foods that contribute or that
Yeah.
make one develop
Yeah.
ulcers.
Mainly the stomach ulcers are very common. And unfortunately, nowadays, they are even affecting people at a very young age. Even students from 1, from 2, from 3, they got ulcers. Because before, the ulcers, they used to come because of acidity, purely of the acid in the stomach. But nowadays, we have got a bacteria which can affect anybody. Before, it was very difficult to get a child with an ulcer or with a peptic ulcer or with a problem of the stomach. But nowadays, we are seeing so many children with peptic ulcers, and mainly is because of H. pylori. These are bacteria. It was not there before. In fact, it came to Kenya, let us say maybe 01, 03, around there. Then it has risen very high, and that's why I found that the way I've said before is that cancer of the stomach is quite common and rising very high because of that bacteria. Because that bacteria, apart from causing the ulcer, increasing the acid in the stomach, is actually predisposing the person to have cancer of the stomach. Now, H. pylori, which is quite common, and of course, all the people with peptic ulcers or the pain in the stomach, actually they have got H. pylori. Almost most of the carrier rate in the population is almost 30%. It means that H. pylori is quite common, and all the people who have got H. pylori, they always have pain in the stomach. Now, pain in the stomach, there are different types. There is one where you have pain before you eat. When you have taken time before you eat, you have pain. Others, they have got pain after you have eaten.
Right.
And others, you have pain at 2 a.m. You wake up at 2 a.m. and there's pain in your stomach. That's just simple. It depends where the ulcer is. If the ulcer is up, you have the pain before you eat. If it's down in the stomach, you have the pain after you have eaten. If it's down in the duodenum, that's after the stomach, you have got pain at night. It just depends where the ulcer is. And that's why, as much as we talk about food, what matters is the acidity in the stomach and the infection in the stomach. Not necessarily any food which causes the problem, but the problem is actually in the lining of the ulcer. In the lining of the stomach where the ulcer is. And remember, all the ulcers, all the wounds are not good, because most wounds, they convert into cancer after some time. That's why I find that the wounds in the stomach, they convert to cancer quite fast. Yes.
And there's someone who's just SMS'd me and asking, Purity, when I am hungry, I really experience so much stomach pains, and I usually get afraid, actually fear getting hungry. Is there a problem with my stomach?
Yes, always when we are not happy, there's a lot of acid produced. That's stress. In fact, one of the causes of ulcers is stress. When you are stressed, there's a lot of acid which is being produced, and you have a lot of problem in your stomach. And that's why sometimes when somebody is scared or has got a lot of stress, apart from the heart beating very fast, you find that your stomach have a problem, and some people some people they can have a running stomach. There's actually some chemicals produced from the body called catecholamines, and these are the ones which actually produce a lot of acids. You start sweating because of high levels of catecholamine, and you start feeling the heartbeat, which is called palpitation. That's all the chemical reaction of the body. So anger and also be afraid is not quite good for your health, apart from rising your blood pressure. Yes.
And just to maybe single out the fact that you may be having ulcers, maybe, Doc, do we have symptoms for hunger? Are there symptoms for hunger? Because some people are saying they even diarrhea.
Oh yes,
Others
yes,
go
that's
ahead.
the same. That's the same thing I'm saying. Yes, yes. When you are not happy, when you are stressed. I like to use the word stress. When you are stressed, and stress is not good because it causes a lot of problem, and that's why when there's different reaction to stress. Somebody can be stressed and is constipated. He does not go for toilet. He's constipated. Others are stressed and they normally have diarrhea. It depends how your body reacts. Remember, any stress or anger is not good for your body. In fact, there's a lot of chemicals which are produced. That's why once you are not happy, you start feeling headache. and then after some time you start having high blood pressure because the same hormones, the same chemicals which are produced in the body to fight against that stress or that anger is the same hormones or the same chemicals which actually have a problem in your heart, in your brain, in your kidney, all over the body. That's why stress is one of the major causes of diseases.
Yeah, and doc, they say that a hungry person is an angry person. How or can unbalanced or unhealthy diet interfere with someone's mood? Because there's that also another misconception.
Definitely, you know, we eat to get energy.
Yeah.
And once you have not eaten, your energy level goes down. And when your energy level goes down, then you don't want disturbance, okay? Because it's like pushing somebody to perform when he has not eaten. It's normally very difficult. That's why I find that some people, when they have not eaten, they're not happy. And after they have eaten, the mood changes. So eating changes the mood very much. So, and that's why sometimes that's why it's advised to eat several snacks. Because if you stay for a long time without eating and that glucose level goes down, you've got no energy. And remember, when your glucose level goes down, you start having that unhappiness, and that's not good. There are few people can smile when the stomach is empty. Yeah,
okay.
and that's
very
why it's very important you eat in the morning, and you get a snack at 10, and then you eat lunch, and also you at 4 you eat something, and then in the evening. And then what's very important, what we have seen is this country that we like taking tea all the time. That's not good. So
my director tells me we have someone else online. Yes. Peter from Mathare. Hello, Peter.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I have a problem.
Okay.
I always, after not doing sex for 1 week, I always have a problem with my testes. They are so painful. So they get so painful that I even take the painkillers after maybe not doing sex for 1 week or even 2 weeks. It pains me a lot. Yeah, so I don't know the problem. What the problem is.
Did you get to hear him clearly,
yes,
Doc?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Peter.
Right. I think pain in the testicles is not really related to the sex at all. Although, of course, we know that unless you have got another problem, which actually is there, you really have a problem because of that. It's not related at all.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to go and see a doctor and then be checked, because remember, there are so many infections which can be there, and after some time, actually, the infection can cause pain, and actually, pain in the testicles for men is quite common. It's quite common, and more so is actually the way somebody does, especially the inner wears. Some of them are very tight. When they are very tight, the blood does not flow out, so it becomes a problem.
Okay.
And so he needs first to check on is the inner wears, and then checks if there's another problem, because not directly related with sex. Yeah.
And as we wind up, Jen, you still have a task of convincing people out there to use a microwave. Maybe what's your take-home message when using a microwave?
I think what I would actually tell consumers is that for Samsung, we are bound by stringent rules and regulations, and we abide by those rules and regulations. So before we do any product or any innovation, it actually goes through various tests. And I keep saying, the consumer is key. So I'll tell consumers, microwaves do not cause cancer. It is proven. Doctors have proven it, and Daktari today has actually proven it. So go out there and actually buy yourself a microwave. And number two, just to tell our consumers that you can actually cook with a microwave with a hot blast technology, which is only specific to Samsung and trademarked by Samsung. You can be able to cook in a safe and secure way. Yes.
Okay. And Doc?
Yes.
maybe you could also help us as we wind up know how do we discipline ourselves in terms of ensuring that our meals are balanced? Is there a way we can discipline ourselves or plan ourselves?
Right, that'd be a problem. I normally give a lot of health talks and advising people how can be able to prevent cancer by using diet, and most of the cancers can be prevented by 30% of cancers can be prevented by diet alone. And that's why we normally say that discipline about food, especially for young people, and I'm seeing 40 and below, they have changed, and remember, it's normally very difficult for people now to tell them to eat the right way. Remember, before in the morning we used to eat ugali, not ugali, that's the leftover of the last night, and then also the kideri in the morning. In the morning you eat kideri, and then kideri was 24/7, and that's why nowadays people, the taste in their mind and also in their mouth is different, because some foods which are real healthy, they are not tasty. And what people have really moved into is actually eating fast food, that is chips and then sausages and samosas and then madas and chapatis. All that food is not good. And that's why sometimes to be able to change to the good and the nature of food is not very easy, but what's very important, people need to just planning. And planning is from day one. There are some people who want to, especially I've seen, and that's that's what we have seen now. After school, somebody eats chips every day because you missed it.
Yes.
So now you want to compensate. That's not good, because that's why I'm seeing that most of the cancers, cancer of the colon, are very common in ladies, and also cancer of the breast. Why? Because they have started eating so refined food, and this food is a real risk factor. Remember, the way I've said is that cancer has no cause, risk factors, and risk factor is food. And that's why we're also seeing that men, especially 25 years to 40 years, they have heart attacks. Why? Because they're eating meat every day. Remember, that is not good. And that's why it's very good, as much as you like this good food, the sweet food, the food which you missed in school. I never said that the food given the school is the best. So continue eating it. If it's 24/7, eat it. Now, when you start eating chapati and then you start eating nyama choma almost every day because you've got the money and you're working and you can afford it, that's not very good.
Okay.
Again, something which is normally very important, you find that because when you are in school, your parents used to eat that normal food. Now, because you started working, you start taking them good food. You give those parents that good food for 5 years, they'll have their diabetes.
Okay.
So it's normally very important to discipline ourselves in terms of food.
Okay, Dr.
Yes.
Geoffrey Mutuma and Jen Mugun, thank you so much for helping us with our discussion today on healthy eating. We do appreciate it, and of course looking forward to having you once again. Yeah, and that's all the time we had for the show today. Thank you so much for your company. My Doctor Show continues tomorrow, but remember, you can always download our previous episodes, including this one, on our YouTube channel. Simply go to Ebru TV Kenya or Purity Museo and select the episode of your choice. Until tomorrow, bye-bye for now.